Permutations and Combinations, Part 2. All right, so we're up to example 4, finding a probability using permutations. You ride on a float with your soccer team in a parade. There are 12 floats in the parade, and their order is chosen at random. Find the probability that your float is first and the float with the school chorus is second. All right, so they're chosen at random. So we're going to say there are 12 floats. So it's going to be 12 permutation. And we want your float to be first and the school chorus to be second. So we're looking at two different objects here, or two different floats that we need to be in a certain order. So we can use either the formula. Okay, if you use the formula, you're going to have 12 factorial on top, and we're going to have 12 minus 2 factorial on the bottom. Okay, or we can use the calculator like I showed you in the last video. So let's go ahead and use the calculator. So we're going to use 12. Go to math, over to probability, down to permutation, and then we need to put in combination of 2, and that gives us 132. All right, so there are 132 possible ways that 12 floats can be lined up in a parade. That's a lot of different ways that you could line up 12 floats. All right, so it says, what is the probability that your float is first and the float with the school chorus is second? So we want to know the probability of soccer first and the chorus second. All right, so that means it's only one scenario that's going to happen. So it's going to be 1 out of 132 possible ways that the floats could be lined up. All right, now we're going to change gears just a little bit, and we're going to look at combinations. Remember, a combination, the order is not important. So this one says, count the possible combinations of 2 letters chosen from the list A, B, C, D. So the first thing we need to do is look at the possible combinations that we could have. So if we're looking at 2 letters, okay, possible combinations of 2 letters being chosen, what are those possibilities? So we could have AB, AC, AD. All right, so that puts A with each of the other letters. Then we could have BA, BC, and BD. And that puts B with all those different letters. And then we could do the same thing with the letter C, CA, CB, and CD. And then we could do the same thing with letter D. So D goes with A, DB, and DC. All right, so count the possible combinations, that means the order does not matter, of 2 letters chosen. So anytime you have 2 letters that are the same, then it's a repeat of the same thing. So for instance, let me see if I can find my highlighter here. All right, so if I have BD, for instance, and DB, that's a repeat. All right, so that means one of these I don't need, because I don't need but one combination. So let's mark out this one. And then if I have, here's another one, CB, CB, and or BC and CD. So that means I don't need but one of those. So mark this one out. And let's see, I've got AC and CA. So I've got AC and CA. So I'm going to mark one of those out. And then AB and BA is another combination where it's the same two letters. So AB and BA. I'm just going to mark this one out. And then CD and DC are the same two letters. So I'm going to mark this one out. And then I've got AD and DA. AD and DA. And see how when I highlight these, it kind of helps. Now I've looked at all the combinations that are together. So since I don't need this one, all these that I have marked out, that means the only ones I have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 possible combinations of 2 letters when given A, B, C, D. And just like with permutations, with combinations, you can also use your calculator. So this is going to be 4 letters, combination, 2 at a time. And, you know, right here we counted, we got 6. So we should get the same thing if we use the calculator here. So let's say we've got 4. This time we're going to do math, probability, combination instead of permutation. So we're going to go down to number 3, hit enter for combination 2 at a time, and that's going to be 6. So you can see that if you use this, you're going to get the exact same thing. And if you want to see the formula, okay, the formula in CR, the formula is very similar to permutations. It's still n factorial on top. On the bottom, it's n minus r factorial, but then it's also times r factorial. So it's got a little bit more added to it. So for this one here, it would be 4 combination 2 at a time. So 4 factorial on top, 4 minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. And that would give you the same thing. So that is the combination formula. Again, if you use the calculator, all you have to do is type it in just like that. Example 6, using the combination formula. You order a sandwich at a restaurant. You can choose 2 side dishes from a list of 8. How many combinations of side dishes are possible? All right, so we've got 8 possible combinations, and we want to choose 2 side dishes. So you can use the formula here. I'm simply going to type it into my calculator because that's the quickest and easiest way to get the answer. And I'm completely fine with you using your calculator. And that would be 28. So there would be 28 different combinations of side dishes. Example 7, finding a probability using combinations. A yearbook editor has selected 14 photos, including one of you and one of your friend, to use in a collage for the yearbook. The photos are placed at random. There is room for 2 photos at the top of the page. What is the probability that your photo and your friend's photo are the 2 placed at the top of the page? All right, so first we need to find the probability that your photo and your friend's photo are placed at the top of the page. So what are we given? We are given that there are 14 photos selected, and there is one of you and your friend. And it says the photos are placed at random, so we know that they're all equally likely to get chosen. And it says there are room for 2 photos at the top of the page, and we want to know if your photo and your friend's photo will be selected as those 2 photos. So first we need to find out how many different combinations there are. So there are 14 photos combination, and we want a combination of 2 because we're looking for 2 photos to be placed at the top of the page. So we can quickly find that using the calculator. If you want to use the formula, by all means. But I'm going to do 14, go to math, over to probability, down to combination. So 14 combination, 2 pictures at a time, and that's going to give me 91 different combinations. And we want to know what is the probability that your photo and your friends are placed at the top of the page. So that means it's going to be 1 out of 91. So the probability that your photo and your friend's photo are chosen is 1 out of the 91 possible outcomes. All right, that's it for this lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know.